In previous exercise, we learned how to create the Azure Resource Manager template, and then also we deployed that template to create the storage account resource. So similar to that, we can use the Azure Resource Manager template to create different Azure resources. In this lesson, we are going to modify our template so that we can dynamically provide different parameters and create the resources. So let's continue and modify our existing template to add the parameters in that template. So this is the URL which I will be sharing in the description. Let's launch the Visual Studio Code from start menu, and then we can modify this template to make the adjustment as per our requirement. I will split the window screen so that we can see both applications on the same window. Okay. So here it is my Visual Studio window, Visual Studio application. You can minimize, and if you have not opened this file, you can open our previous template, Azure Deploy JSON. You can watch the previous lesson exercise to understand how we have created this particular template. Okay, so now next thing is we need to make this template dynamic so that we can provide the parameters and additional option. Instead of modifying this template again and again, we can externally provide the parameters or different values or the storage names. Okay, so let's start with modifying the storage name. So here you can see we have hard coded the storage name. So instead of doing that, now what we can do is we can give the parameters, mention the parameters, and from that we can pass the values to create the resources. So in the parameters section, we can define our parameters. Uh, Click inside the parameters section in these two brackets and hit enter as mentioned in the first step. And now we need to start typing PAR for parameters. And then uh, we can see the different option which we will get from the snippets to insert these snippets automatically. And here it looks like it has not loaded all the extensions or the schemas yet, and that's why after entering the parameter we are not getting the option to select new parameter to insert this code automatically. Again, in case you are not getting this code automatically or the snippets, what you can do is, since as of now we still can do the copy paste, you can copy the code from parameter 1 and make sure that you are copying all the brackets. So this top bracket and the last bracket, I'm not copying it. Okay, let me try it one more time. If I get no, that's still not working, so I can do the copy paste. Okay, so this way we got the parameter, and now what we can do is we we can change certain values. Like here we can say uh, oops, again as usual you can see something is wrong. We got some extra code here, so let me clean that up. So I just closed the Azure Visual Studio, and again I have relaunched it so that it will work properly. And now again I will try parameter, and now we can see the extension is prompting us to insert the code automatically. And now here we can select that particular code which we want to insert in our application. Sorry, again I have deleted something different. Okay, I will delete the last empty line, and now here we can modify the parameters name. So you can see here in the step number 4 and step number 3, we can see what all different things we need to modify. So first of all we need to change the name of the parameter. Name of the parameter is storage name in this case. Again you can give any name as per your requirement, and the type of data will be string, And then additionally we need to add these two: minimum length is 3 and max length is 4. So that's the you are defining the limitation of characters, minimum and maximum characters, now length. And now let's see what is the metadata. In the description you can type the name of the Azure storage resource. So you are just giving the hint, or the description you are providing what what is this parameter, or what purpose it is being used. That information we need to provide. Okay, so with this we have completed step number 4. Okay, and now we need to go to next step number 5. Again, you can open these two windows at side by side so that you can see both the windows on the same screen, and very easily you can do the copy paste. Okay, let's move on. And then step number 5, use the new parameter resource block in name and display name values. So since we have added the parameters here, we need to replace these hard-coded storage name and use the name which will be supplied by the user using the parameters. So that we need to modify. Okay, so we can change it using this particular bracket. In the bracket we need to provide parameters, and then again inside the bracket we need to mention the name of these parameters. So in this case our parameter name is storage name. Okay, so I will change the display name also. So with this we change the name from hard coded name to the dynamic name which will be supplied by the user while creating the storage account. Okay, so we made a simple change. We added a parameter to accept the parameters using uh, parameters. Okay, so now let's save this file, and let's open a new terminal. Let me make it bigger so that I can see the terminal menu, and new terminal. Okay, and this way we have to connect to we can open the terminal. And then as usual, right now my session with the Azure portal has been disconnected, so I can first I have to reconnect to Azure, then set the context, set the default resource group, and then I will have to run all these commands again. And if you don't know, I can share that link again here. So this is the URL where we learn how to connect to Azure and how to set the default subscription, how to set the default resource group. So those kind of settings we did in this previous exercise. So let's quickly run these commands so that we can connect to Azure. So we need to type connect dash az account. You can try to use the autocomplete feature of PowerShell. Type the command and then hit tab so that it can complete your command. So it will take a few moment, like up to 30 seconds or 1 minute it can take, depend on the system performance and speed. And then you can it will prompt you to enter your username and password to authenticate your PowerShell session with the Azure portal. And also we can open the Azure portal in the different tab, and you can also monitor whatever resources we are creating. You can monitor those resources inside the Azure portal. Since I am doing this activity inside the virtual machine, it is taking time to launch the authentication prompt for PowerShell. And now here you can see my Azure portal is getting open. So here you can see I'm getting a new window open here. It says sign into your account, and now here you can enter your same email address which you have used to activate the sandbox. And somehow that window that window got closed, so I can again. Okay, you can see probably it automatically authenticated without entering the username and password, because I have already signed into this Azure portal multiple times and that account is already saved in the cache. Okay, let me clear the screen, make this window bigger so that you can see. Now, as usual, first we need to get subscription and set the default. Uh, we need to set the default subscription on which we are going to work. So for that, command is get az subscription. Okay, so this will list all the subscription which are available inside your Azure portal, and out of those all subscription you need to select one of the subscription on which you are working. For that we need to set the context. So first we will define a variable, and inside that variable we are giving the subscription ID, and then we are running get az subscription command, and that whatever output we are getting, that is getting stored in the dollar context, and then use the set az context command to set the context. So basically we are defining the default subscription on which we are working. Okay, and now then also we need to define what is our default resource group. So this particular resource group is already created by default in the sandbox, and that's what we are going to use for this activity. And then next step is, now we need to deploy this template which we have created. Again, your template should look like this. You should have the parameters and the you can see schema, content, then parameters. In the parameters, here you can see we have defined the storage name parameters. It's a string. Minimum length is 3 and maximum 24, and description is the name of the storage, Azure storage account. And then here in the resource section, we have defined the parameters and storage name. Like we are saying that the value of this name and display name will come from this particular parameter. And now let's run the az resource deployment command so that we can create the resource. You can copy paste all the lines at once, or you can copy paste lines one by one. Template file, again it's the file name. In case you are not in the same directory, you will have to give the complete path. Okay, make sure that you are in the directory where your file is created. Otherwise you can use the cd command to change the directories. And now I am defining the second variable. It will store the today's date, and that date will be automatically added in the deployment name. Okay, so our deployment name is blank template again. And now, sorry, I am doing wrong. I'm running different wrong command. I will have to go back. This is not the deployment we want to run. We want to deploy the template which we have modified along with the storage names, and that's why we need to use this particular deployment. The previous two variables will remain same, but the last one will change. Now again I am on the new exercise page which we are doing. That's we are modifying the storage name, and now we can use the new az resource deployment command and hit enter. We have given the backcode so that we can start the new line, and then enter the name of the deployment, then hit enter, then give the template name. Okay, hit enter, and now using the dash storage name parameter, we need to enter our storage name. And here you can give the any storage name, but that storage name has to be unique. Uh, it has to be globally unique storage name, and name must be between 3 to 24 characters. Okay, so I have given my storage name and hit enter. Now it should start the deployment in the portal. Okay, let's go back to the Azure portal and search for resource group. Okay, let's go to the resource group. Okay, so here on the resource group page, we can see if there are any deployments going on. So as of now, it says no deployments going on, but we know in the backend there is one deployment going on. If you still don't see any deployments, you can go to the deployment page and see if anything is happening. Still, it says no deployments and neither it's showing any kind of resources. Possibly it's taking some time to create the resources. So this is the default storage account which is already created for the Cloud Shell. Okay, we will give it some time and then we will again refresh our Azure portal to see if it has created any resources or not. It should create a new storage account with the name whatever you have given. So in this case, I have given a storage account name AZ104 class SG11. So here in the output we can see we have successfully created our storage account, and in the JSON output after running the command successfully we can see some of the output, and again there are a lot of information. The provisioning state is successful, it's moved, and you can see the timestamp, name of the storage account, and some additional information. Now next we are going to see how we can customize the output. Whatever output we are getting, it's too much and we want to specific output. So now we are going to learn how we can customize this output. So here in the output section, we need to define what exactly we want to see in the output. And also in the storage, in the Azure portal, in the resource group, you can see this particular storage account which has been created. Whatever name you had given, you can see the storage account created there. It took a while for me to see the storage account, but finally, after refreshing the browser, I can see the storage account. Okay, and also if you go to the resource pool, uh, you go to the resource group. Here you can see one deployment activity which is successful, and here under the deployments in the resource group setting, we can see the deployment name and its status. Okay, now let's go back to the exercise. We are able to see the new deployment, and now we can also modify the additional parameters. Let's say in this case now we are going to limit the parameter values which can be used for the storage. Okay, so as of now we are using standard LRS as a SQ type. Now if in case we want to again customize this and provide additional parameters for the SQ type also, then we can add additional parameter for that. Okay, let's do that. Now for that, let's go to the place the cursor after closing brace in the storage name, and then again we have to type parameters and select the new parameter, and then we can modify our additional these values. Let me make this window small so that we can keep this window side by side. Okay, I will select this one, and again let me make the Visual Studio window bigger. Okay, so first we will add another parameter. So this is the parameter section and it is got ended here, and now I will hit enter, and you now type PAR, which will prompt you to the extension will prompt you to select the parameter name. And now this time we need to select the storage SQ parameter so that user can dynamically type this parameter on their screen. Okay, now again you need to give a comma here for the first parameter to end, and then you can see storage SQ. Then now again type is string, and then here we are specifying what is the default value, And then also we are providing the allowed values. It means user either they can use the default standard LRS setting, or user can select one of the settings from the allowed values. If they select anything different, any values which is not inside the allows section, then they will get the error. Their deployment will not work. Okay, the deployment will not start, and the deployment will throw the error. You can now here you can see uh, the lines intention not followed, and it's not proper. The spacing before the line is not proper. So what you can do is you can right click anywhere, select click anywhere, then right click and click on format document. So this will automatically adjust the line spacing, okay, so that the code will look clean and good. Again, whenever the bracket ends, you need to type comma. Whenever the line ends, you need to type comma. And so these are the allowed values. And now let's move on. Now also, since we have uh, if needed, you can add the comment also. So the JSON parameter accept the comment which start with the to forward line, and then you can say these are the allowed values for an Azure storage account. Anything, so any comment you want to provide, you can provide the comments. The comment should start with to forward slash. Okay, and now scroll back. We need to change the SKU name there. Now we need to provide the parameters to use. Okay, and now what I'll do, I will copy this particular section, parameters, bracket parameters, and then again bracket, and the name of the parameter. Okay, so I have copied. Make sure that these double quote are there, the comma is there. If you miss something, then it will throw the errors. So now your file will look like here. First here we will have a storage name parameter section, then we have a storage SKU parameter section. Okay, and then uh, at the end here, we from the SKU name section, we have added the new value like the parameter area. Okay, now save your file using Control S, or from file you can click on file save. And now again we can deploy the template. Now this time the deployment name is different. Okay, let's go ahead and deploy this template. Okay, I will type clear to clear my terminal, and again get the date. Already we have took the date. Now this time I will copy multiple lines at the same time, and then I will say okay, I want to type multiple lines. And now again I can copy all these lines at once and paste it here, but again I cannot do that because here we need to give this unique storage name. Okay, but I can definitely copy 3 lines at once, and then I will say don't ask me again. Okay, so I have copied multiple lines, and next I can type the parameter name is storage name, and again give a unique name, my SG, anything, any number you can type, or any name, but it has to be minimum 3 to 24 characters, and the storage name should be unique. Okay, now I forgot to type the backcode, and so if something like this happens, you can definitely use the Control C command, and somehow okay, I pressed Control C couple of times and it took that command, and then again repeat the command. Use the up arrow key to repeat previous command, and this time I will type the backcode, or you can type all entire command on the same line. Let me complete the command on same line. Okay, and now the next parameter is storage SKU, and then type the storage SKU name. Okay, and that's the standard underscore GRS. Now and then hit enter. Okay, so let's see if the deployment start or not. Again we can go back to the portal and see if it is creating a new storage account using the mysg11998. So this is the name which I have given, and also I have given the storage kind or SKU type as a storage GRS. Okay, and do the it should complete the deployment. And so now you can see that we are able to create a storage account using by providing additional parameters. This time we provided the parameter for the name and the storage SKU type. Okay, now let me go back to the portal, and I'm inside the resource group. I have clicked on the overview page, and here you can see I have created one more storage account by providing the parameters to the template file. Now let's move on, and now we will do one small test. So this time we will again, I'm repeating the previous command by using up arrow key. I will change the storage name. Okay, and now instead of entering the allowed values, now I'm giving the value as a basic. Okay, the SKU type as a basic. Now since this basic value or storage SKU type is not in the allowed value list, the deployment will not be successful and it will throw an error. Okay, so it says that value must be from these values which we have defined in the template. If we try to provide any kind of other values which is not in the allowed value list, then the deployment will fail. Okay, now the last thing in this exercise is that we need to customize the output. We need to customize the output. Right now you can see we get a lot of information, but if we want to see the specific information in the output, then we can do that also. We can do the customization. Okay, now again let's go back to our template file. Okay, now in the output section, we can add the output whatever we want to see. Hit enter in the bracket, output section bracket in the JSON file, and now this time uh, we will type enter and then type out. Okay, so if we start typing out, then it will say new dash output, and then select that new dash output so that it will insert the code. In case you again don't get this, you can type these things manually. If you have the extension arm template extension installed, then you should get the snippet to install the code here. Okay, and now we need to change the name of the output and the values, and let's go back. So let's copy paste this come output. We want the output as a storage endpoint, so this is the name of the output, and type is object. Okay, I will say object, and then the values, whatever values we want to see in the output, we can type it. Okay, so again you can do the copy paste. We want to see the reference storage account name and the primary endpoints, so that is the value which we want to see in the output. Okay, let's let's save this file again, and now we will run this, we will deploy this template one more time and try to create the storage account. Okay, so the first let me run these two commands to set the deployment name and the date. Now this time the deployment name is add outputs plus date, so whatever today's date is, that it will take that date. Okay, and again you can definitely go back and run the previous commands. Basic, not we want to deploy the storage underscore grs, but we want to change the name of the storage account, and this time I will say sg output 99. Okay, and the storage account name, and then hit enter. Now it should create the storage account in our subscription, and then in the output we will say the output like storage under the storage endpoint, it will be object type, and then we can see all the endpoint names. Okay, so these are the endpoints which we can use for the storage account connection. Okay, and then we can go to the deployment and check the deployment status. Let me go back to the portal and do the refresh while this is going on. So here in the output section, you can see that we got the deployment and the primary string object endpoints like this is the storage account.dfs.core.windows.net. Then in the output again, you can see different blob storage, queue storage, then table storage for the file storage endpoints. We are able to see all these values in the output. And again, we can go here. Let me refresh it one more time so that we can see the storage account. And here in the deployments, we can see 3 deployments are successful. If we go to the deployment section, we can see the name of the deployment and its status. So we added the output, and let's go inside this, add output section deployment. And then also whenever we create any kind of resource, Azure automatically creates a template for that. We can download this template and it can be used afterwards also. And this is our template: storage name, SQ, these are the parameters. And then here we can see the actual resource which we have defined, and then this is the output section which we have defined, and then we got these values, primary endpoints, in the output section. Okay, so let's go back to the exercise. So this way we are able to create a JSON template. We are able to create the storage account using the template. Then we also we learn how to modify the template to include the parameters, and then also we customize the output which we get after running the template. Thanks for watching it. Thanks.